Like we breathe, we do not consciously make an effort to breathe. It's something we have to do. So we do it. Using the loo, something we have to do, we do it. Just like that, anything else in the world is something that we must do, and we must do it. But the purpose of our existence is the worship of Allah. That is why we were created. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that He created us to test us which one of us were best in their deeds. And this is our identity, this is the purpose of our existence. Now what is on the contrary side? What did the shaitan or the devil have to say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He said in Surah Al-Araf chapter 7 verse 17, "Then I will come to them from the front of them, from behind them, from the right of them, from the left of them." This is the shaitan saying that this is how he will attack the believers. And then he says, وَلَا تَجِدُ أَكْثَرَهُمْ شَاكِرِينَ, and you will not find most of them grateful. This is a promise of the shaitan to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That I promise you that when I attack them like this, most of them will become ungrateful to you. Most of them will refuse to thank you. Most of them will not even realize that these blessings are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is how I will delude them. And this he swore before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that I will do this. And by not following the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and by not recognizing Him, we are falling straight into the trap of shaitan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah An-Nahl chapter 16 verse 18, "And if you would count the favors of Allah, never could you be able to count them. Truly, Allah is oft-forgiving, most merciful." That if you dedicated your entire life to counting the favors of Allah, what favors do I have? You would never be able to count them. No matter how long you lived, you would not be able to count the favors of Allah. This is the blessing of Allah. Yet, we do not even recognize, we take so many things for granted, that this is my birthright, this is my birthright, this is my birthright. We don't recognize these are favors from Allah. And each one of us has been given one or two or more blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which are sometimes unique to us. Some special qualities that we possess. It could be our good looks, it could be wealth, it could be intelligence, it could be our ability to speak, it could be our ability to listen. So these are all some of the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I know many people who have such qualities. A person who has a good voice, reciting the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a beautiful way. And although sometimes we might envy one another for these things, that I wish I had good looks like that person, or I wish I was as intelligent as that person, or I wish I had wealth like that person. Why couldn't Allah give me? If He could give him, why couldn't He give me? But know this, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not put a burden on you greater than that you can handle. And a person who has been given good looks, if he has good looks, he's got women chasing after him, and he goes into committing zina, ends up in hellfire. Repeatedly becomes a complete sinner and ends up in hellfire. Similarly, a person who has been given wealth throws it all away, not serving a penny in the cause of Allah. He has earned hellfire for himself. So some of these blessings can turn into a curse for us, and we even don't know how we have made it. We have been wishing for it all this while. Please give me this, please give me that, please give me this, please give me that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tries to delay it or tell us that I've got something better for you. But we insist, no, give me this, give me this, give me this, without realizing what the consequences could be. Without realizing that we will not be able to handle it if we are given that blessing. So we say that be careful for what you wish, for what you wish may come true. And we are also encouraged to pray for one another. But remember this golden rule, that whenever you pray for any of your brothers and sisters, or pray for your own self, always keep this last sentence in mind, that Allah give that brother a lot of money. But please, do not let this money become the source of him entering hellfire. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give that brother great looks, make him the most handsome man on the planet, but don't make this handsomeness end him up in hellfire. Similarly, if you pray for something for yourself, say this, that, please Allah, I do not know if this thing will take me to hellfire or keep me in paradise. So just say that, please, whatever blessing it is, do not give it to me if it's going to put me in hellfire. There are certain dawah organizations meaning organizations that are calling people to Islam in the UK and the US. And something that they've started doing is that now their participants or their volunteers are learning sign language, and they're trying to convert or revert non-Muslims to Islam by sign language. Allahu, look at this. There are people going out of their way, learning sign language and telling people, come to Islam by just sign language. So imagine now the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you can hear, that you have the ability to hear, that you have the ability to see, that you have the ability to speak, among millions of other things. Just three things. You have eyesight, you can thank Allah that I get to see my children every single day. I get to look at them every single day. I get to look at my spouse every single day. Thank you, Allah, for that. Allah, I thank you for the ears, for the good things I hear every day. Oh Allah, I thank you for my speech, for I speak good every single day. So these are some of the great blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we must be thankful for. But the question is, are we thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for even these minute things? Do we even recognize that these are blessings given to us by the Creator of the heavens and the earth? So now that we have these blessings, are we using them to come closer to Allah? And we are told that the way of doing shukr or saying thanks to Allah are plenty. You could be saying shukr in your heart, you could be saying shukr on your tongue, or you could be saying shukr with your limbs, with your body. And how does the person do that? The best way, in fact, to show gratitude is to actually use your limbs to show gratitude. Whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you, do not use it for any other purpose than for what it was created. Do not look at haram. Do not speak evil. Do not hear evil. Do not use the things, the blessings that Allah has given you for anything haram. The example could be like this. A friend of yours gives you a great shirt, a designer shirt, and you use that designer shirt to mop the floor every single day. And your friend walks in on you and she says, what are you doing? I'm mopping the floor with your shirt. This is not why I gave you the shirt. You have plenty of other things to mop the floor with. This was for you to actually wear. I spent a lot of money on this. Is this how you give thanks to me? By mopping the floor with it? This is a disgrace. Similarly, a friend of yours gives you a plate of fruit and a knife to cut the fruit and eat it. You throw the fruit at other people and you use the knife to stab people. This is a complete misuse of the blessings that you were given. So we are to avoid these sort of things, the misuse of the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and use them only for a purpose that is pure and loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our eyes, for example. You see a girl walking on the street, this is for the men. Lower your gaze. This is not why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created your eyes, to stare at women. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created our ears to hear good things, to hear the word of Allah. The moment you hear a person backbiting, close your ears and run away. Believe me, it is better for you. Close your ears and just run. Make a run for the door. The moment you hear any profanity or bad things, close your ears and run. And then your speech. There is a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, narrated by Abu Hurairah, who mentioned that the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, whoever believes in Allah in the last day should speak a good word or just remain silent. If you have nothing good to say, just be quiet. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't open your mouth. Don't feel obliged to say something. If you are sitting amongst friends and they're all talking and you feel obliged to put in a word in there as well. Though it might be a word against somebody else. Don't do it. Because you don't know how these little bad deeds pile up into huge, humongous sins. So these are just some of the ways of how we show gratitude towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You say, I am a slave of Allah. I am a slave. I am owned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A friend comes up to you and says, I'm about to go to that place, which is some haram activity. And you say, how can I go? I'm a slave of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala owns me. I cannot go with you and engage in that. My master would be upset with me. This is how a slave behaves. But what is our reaction? Let me also call 5 other people. Let's all go. This is not acceptable. If we say we are slaves of Allah, we are servants of Allah, then we must act like it. Any person calls us to sin, we say, so sorry, I can't do it. I can't upset the master. He'll be upset. That's how we should act.